Well, it's January the 12th, 2022, and I guess we're getting to the point here where the big showdown is finally ready to happen. And that is the whole battle over the voting power grab bill that the Democrats are pushing. Joe Biden yesterday, President of the United States, went total demagogue down in Georgia with his crazy comparison to anybody who opposes what he's tried to do as being somehow a racist or a segregationist, like in the bad old days. I mean, given the very high degree of minority participation in current voting in recent years, the fact that the Democrats won the last election, that they're crying foul so big, I mean, actually, what they'd be saying if they lost, huh? So, at any rate, by the way, if you like these videos, please subscribe. We need more subscribers. Likes help with the algorithm, and any comments are appreciated. Yeah, this is one of the most demagogic speeches I have heard in a long time. I mean, this guy is really losing touch with reality. Um, Fortunately, it seems as of this minute, and it's a fast-breaking situation. It'll probably be maximum threat up through Martin Luther King Day on the 17th, next Monday. But it looks like the moment that Senators Manchin and Sinema are still holding firm on their opposition to changing the filibuster, and even some of the Democrats who are in that other group I've talked about, who seem to be more weakening on the subject, at the present time at least, don't seem to agree on exactly how they want to change it. I mean, some of them want the talking filibuster. Others want certain other rule changes. Some maybe, just want to carve out for one issue, the voting issue. Of course, if you carve out for the voting issue in one Congress, another Congress could use the same carve out to change it right back again. So that's not a way to have a permanent solution. I guess the theory is nobody would dare to, but then again, and of course, this is all in support of a very, very bad bill. I mean, this is a bill that's going to weaken voter security tremendously. It would finance political campaigns. That's right, use public money to finance political campaigns, and basically really stretch out election counting and probably increase the amount of lawsuits and battles and suspicions. If you think there was a contest in the 2020 election over what happened, I think it'd be endless with this sort of a bill. So, and the other thing that one has to bring into account is, in the hypothetical scenario where it was passed, it would face court challenges. And I would think that large parts of it, probably not all, but large parts of it might actually be struck down as unconstitutional. And if that were to happen, then the next push would obviously be to rev up the push to pack the Supreme Court. And remember, to get this one passed, they'd have already had to weaken the filibuster. So it seems to me that it would be an ongoing spiral to undo the political system we've had for a very long time. And that's why I've been so much speaking out in these videos against it for, probably even before the last election, because I saw this coming. Remember, the Democrats, it's been pointed out here, of almost 27 of the current senators actually signed a letter, demanding that the filibuster not be eliminated back when the Republicans took control in 2016, or literally 2017 when they were sworn in. And that, of course, was probably unnecessary because, the leadership of the Senate didn't want to go that way at all anyhow. Former President Trump did. And of course, it's obviously clear but now that if he'd have done that, almost everything he would have gotten passed that way would have probably been repealed by now. In other words, it's one of those sort of situations that it doesn't do you a lot of good. I guess there is a degree to which if you get it in place, it's hard to get rid of certain things. But at any rate, I think that I'll just have to say that for the moment, it looks like our two senators have held firm on this issue, the two Democrats that are moderates. And I think for various reasons, I think certainly in the case of Joe Manchin, I think he sincerely believes in the traditional Senate approach. He's schooled in that from his political mentor, Robert C. Byrd, and the other person involved, I think Kristen Sinema, since she has the McCain seat, fancies herself as the McCain of the of the Democrat side. I mean, we had a Republican, McCain, who was crossing the aisle a lot, and I think she's kind of playing the opposite game. And remember, she's in a very purple state, one that could swing either way in any given election. So I think it makes sense for her to position herself this way. And apparently, it's even affected her colleague there from Arizona too. So, and they're all so I think it looks like we'll probably be able to block this thing. Although it's pretty good, I think, to call out what they're trying to do and to show how that indicates they're people that shouldn't be trusted with the government. I mean, anybody that would be this hypocritical, this low down, this scheming, to try to really make the elections less credible in order to hope to win. And of course, there's a risk that what if they do all this and still lose? Then they would have weakened the filibuster, and who knows what the Republicans would have done themselves, right? In other words, but no real long-term avail because it would get switched back in the next election. And of course, this is the biggest problem. You could very well have a situation where, for instance, even felony crimes under one congressional rule would be totally legal under the other, and vice versa. I mean, what sort of instability would this ultimately lead to? I think that's the kind of situation. And when you look at the radicalism that is coming out of the House side on the Democrats, I mean, who knows? I mean, legalizing illegal immigrants, new states, who knows? I mean, this voting bill is just the appetizer to the menu that the far left wants to serve the country. And that's why I'm so focused on this issue. What's interesting and notable about it all, and I think this is very, important, is for all these decades and centuries here, the stability of this country is dependent on something that was this ephemeral, that isn't a constitutional provision. It's not actually a textual law exactly. And yet it's held for all this deals as a tradition and has kept the country stable and has balanced the needs of the more populous states against the less populous states. Because remember, if the filibuster goes, then political power will gravitate to the high populous states, particularly your New York, Illinois, California, and perhaps Texas on the other side. But the bulk of the left-wing states that are populous would have more power than they do now. And I think that's an important thing to consider in all this. So at any rate, it looks, fingers crossed, it looks good for now, but we'll probably have a better idea, probably maybe by my next video, or at least the one after that, at what actually ends up happening. I think at some point this may die down. We don't know how long this will last. There's also the aspect that it is a distraction to the ongoing Omicron, coronavirus pandemic surge, which is hitting really high record levels. Certainly, the average is going to be going up to the high hundreds of thousands. We had a peak day over 1 million, but that was just because of catching up the reports over the 2 days of weekend reporting that were down. So that doesn't really mean that, but it is going up very fast. And so that's something else that they're probably doing to try to, shift attention from the fact that they were completely unprepared. And by the time the masks and the test kits that they're ordering now get delivered, we'll probably be on the downswing on that particular one. The good news seems to be so far, it looks like that the fatalities are lagging. And remember, on the hospitalization number, there's a big mixture between those that simply check into the hospital for any reason and happen to have the COVID, and those who actually are in there because of it. And that'll probably become an increasing factor in those reports. And so it really is going to be the fatality count that's going to be really more relevant. But even then, we're not sure to what degree those numbers aren't being contaminated the same way. At any rate, so I just want to kind of hit all these points today, and I hope we get through this okay. By the way, I mean, if you have a Democrat senator, by all means, contact him and tell him you want to maintain the filibuster and the traditions of the Senate and the minority rights, because otherwise, who knows what they do next. And we will wrap this one up for now. Links to my social media are below. Not links, excuse me. I just put the addresses because the links kind of put you into a fairly messy website. But getting into the addresses and then looking for my profile, you can find any posts I've done there. And I post most frequently on Twitter, largely in reaction to what other people are saying, but I do post things on the others. I'm new to Gettr, so we'll see how that turns out. And of course, Trump's famous social media hasn't really surfaced yet. All they keep bragging about it's about to be here. They say now on President's Day, so let's see if that happens. And okay, and until next time.